the Overnight Underground Podcast. Here's the headlines. Trump kills immigrants. Immigration. The Las Vegas mayor is going viral. AOC calls for a boycott of work. The patriarchy is puzzling, and unemployment hits new heights. These stories and more coming up on today's Overnight Underground News. I'm John Ford. President Trump put pen to paper and scribbled his name to a proclamation Wednesday that temporarily suspends immigration into the United States. The edict limits the issuance of new green cards and limits immigration.
Just signed an executive order temporarily suspending immigration into the United States. This will ensure that unemployed Americans of all backgrounds will be first in line for jobs as our economy reopens.
The law falls short of a full ban and will exempt temporary foreign workers, which is currently the biggest source of immigration. The new immigration proclamation is causing the president some backlash from his own camp. Here's Fox and Friends talking head Ainsley Earhart with how the ruling will affect her personally.
Many families here, including mine, we have au pairs, and we rely on them. I go to work at 3 o'clock in the morning, so I need her there, and I need her in my house so that she can help me with my daughter.
I guess I need my au pair is the new I can't get my nails done. President Trump is also at odds with Georgia Governor Brian Kemp over Kemp's plan to open up the state as soon as Friday.
I told the governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp, that I disagree strongly with his decision to open certain facilities which are in violation of the Phase 1 guidelines for the incredible people of Georgia. They're incredible people. At the same time, he must do what he thinks is right. But I disagree with him on what he's doing.
The Georgia governor said this week that he would allow certain businesses, including hair and nail salons, barbershops, gyms, tattoo parlors, and bowling alleys, to reopen beginning Friday. Bowling, tattoos, and dye jobs are important. Gotta keep those priorities in order. Well, we've finally done it. Unemployment has reached the highest rate since the Great Depression, thanks to our little friend COVID-19.
Do you want to play rough? Okay. Say hello to my little friend.
Last week, another 4.4 million joined the ranks of the unemployed, bringing the grand total to roughly 26 million people without gainful employment. Who do we thank for this amazing feat? Trump?
No.
Bats?
No.
Obama?
That's nonsense.
China?
Yes.
Take your pick.
Okay, Sergeant Buzzkill.
In a somewhat related story, New York King, Governor Cuomo, had a bit of a heated exchange with a reporter at his coronavirus press lecture yesterday when asked about a citizen's right to work. Cuomo said this.
Is there a fundamental right to work if the government can't get me the money when I need it? Is there a fundamental right
you want to go to work? Go take a job as an essential worker. Do it tomorrow.
Well, there's no smugness there.
You have a responsibility to me, right? We started here saying it's not about me, it's about we. Get your head around the we concept. So it's not all about you. It's about me too. It's about we.
If I can read between the lines, I think what he's saying here is, it takes a village. Idiot. Let's spin the wheel of outrage to see which politician caused the twatosphere to implode in the last 24 hours. If you picked Las Vegas Mayor Carolyn Goodman, step right up and pick up your free hooker.
Absolutely free!
The Vegas mayor became the target of outrage when she offered Sin City as a test case for reopening.
That's the competition in this country, the free enterprise, and to be able to make sure that what you offer the public meets the needs of the public. Right now, we're in a crisis health-wise, and so for a restaurant to be open or a small boutique to be open, they better figure it out. That's their job.
Vegas Mayor Carolyn Goodman calling for businesses to take charge of reopening her city, not the government. The mayor has been called reckless by some and a moron or worse by others. May I suggest we leave Vegas closed for just a bit longer? And if you must gamble, try online gambling. Or better yet, put all your money in a bucket and light it on fire. Oh hell, we got even more politicians being politicians news. I'm not sure how this is supposed to help, but Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is calling for a national work boycott. The New York congressperson said that when businesses reopen, workers should refuse to go back to work.
Only in America does the president, when the president tweets about liberation, does he mean go back to work? When we, have this discussion about going back or reopening, I think a lot of people should just say, no, we're not going back to that.
AOC on the podcast, Seat at the Table. The freshman congresswoman, is that okay to say woman, has gotten a bit of flack over other recent statements, including her statement that, quote, inequality was a pre-existing condition that leads to higher numbers of minorities contracting coronavirus, and a now deleted tweet celebrating the crash of oil prices. God bless her. 60s it girl, pop star, and sometimes main squeeze of Mick Jagger, Marianne Faithfull is out of the hospital. Faithfull spent 3 weeks in the hospital battling coronavirus. Rolling Stone reports that Faithfull is thankful for the care she received from the NHS and credited the British Health Service and NHS workers for her recovery. If you pick the New York Times crossword puzzles as the next target to get whacked in the war against the patriarchy, step right up and pick up your fish wrapper.
What the hell is this?
It's a Sicilian message. It means Luca Brasi sleeps with the fishes.
According to that bastion of journalistic integrity, Vice News, 600 incensed puzzlers have signed a letter to the executive director of puzzles at the New York Times. Now there's a job to have at the paper of record. The executive director of puzzles of the New York Times. Anyways, the pissed letter writers are demanding that they stop catering to, quote, older white men. The grievances are targeted directly at what complainers say is an implicit bias in the system that favors old, straight white men and dismisses the voices of minority crossword constructors and solvers. You just can't make this shit up. Maybe the Times is only responding to their puzzling psychographic profile. I was under the impression that old white men were the only group who still solved crossword puzzles in newspapers, much less bought them.
N-E-W-S.
A mostly correct and occasionally incomplete transcript and links to reference sources and articles of this Overnight Underground can be found at overnightunderground.com.